All right, everyone, get ready, because today we're diving into some seriously cool AI stuff. We're talking about AI that can actually make videos, and not just any videos, but like really realistic ones in high definition, even with sound.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. And it's all thanks to the folks over at Meta. They've been working on this incredible project called MovieGen. It's seriously a game changer.
No kidding. One of our listeners actually sent in Meta's research paper on it. And honestly, I was blown away when I first saw it. Like, imagine typing in something like a blue emu swims through the ocean, and then boom, MovieGen just makes a video of it.
It's amazing, right? And the crazy thing is, it's not just one single AI model doing all this. They've actually created a whole bunch of them, kind of like a film crew, where each one has its own job in making the video.
Yeah, that's one of the things I found so cool about this. It's not just about, making funny videos with your friends, although I'm sure we'll be seeing a ton of that. This tech has some seriously big potential beyond that.
Oh, absolutely. What we're seeing here is AI starting to move past just mimicking patterns. It's actually starting to understand the world in a much deeper way, like how things move, the laws of physics, even something as subjective as aesthetics. And then it takes all that knowledge and uses it to create. It's a whole new level of how AI is interacting with media.
So walk me through this. How does this even work?
Okay, so at the heart of it, MovieGen uses a type of AI model called a transformer. You might have heard of it.
Yeah.
It's the same tech behind those large language models that have been all over the news.
You mean like those AI chatbots that can write you a poem in the style of Shakespeare or summarize a whole bunch of emails like Hemingway would?
Exactly. So just like those language models learn by going through tons and tons of text, MovieGen Video, that's the model that actually creates the videos, has basically watched millions of videos and billions of images. That's how it's learned the visual language of our world.
So it's like it's been on a giant Netflix binge, but for AI.
Haha. Yeah, you could say that. And it's funny because just like we pick up on weird habits or patterns after watching too much TV, early versions of MovieGen had this quirk where they would create these videos that had these strange spot artifacts in them, like little visual glitches.
Spot artifacts. So like when your video is buffering, you get those weird blocks.
Yeah, exactly. It turns out these were happening because of how the AI was trying to store and process all that visual info. It's like if you tried to cram an entire encyclopedia into one tiny book, things would get messy, right? Yeah. So the researchers actually had to go back and redesign part of the model to fix it, which just shows you how insanely complex this stuff is.
That's wild. I can't even imagine how much brain power, not to mention computer power, goes into something like this.
Oh, it's mind-blowing. MovieGen Video has something like 30 billion parameters. Think of each one like a tiny little dial that the AI can adjust to control how it creates videos. We're talking billions of these dials, all working together. Just training a model on that scale requires a massive amount of computing power and some really smart engineering.
So this isn't something you can just whip up in your basement, huh?
Definitely not. You need some serious computer power for this, something that only a handful of companies in the world could even attempt.
Okay, so we've got these crazy complex AI models trained on mountains of data, all to make these hyper-realistic videos. But let's talk about this whole personalization thing for a sec, because honestly, it blew my mind. You're telling me I could upload a photo of, like, my grandma, and MovieGen could make her the star of a video.
It's closer than you think. And honestly, that's one of the things that makes this such a big deal. The fact that MovieGen can learn to put a specific person into a video so seamlessly is huge.
Right. It's like something out of a movie.
Yeah.
So how do they even train the AI to do that? Is it just a matter of feeding it more data, or is there something more to it?
It's definitely more than just throwing data at the problem. The researchers had to be really careful about what kind of videos they used for training. It couldn't just be any random footage. They needed videos where the same person was visible throughout, so the AI could learn to recognize and recreate their unique features.
That makes sense. Otherwise, you'd end up with some sort of Frankenstein video, right?
Exactly. But they also had to make sure the AI didn't just learn to, copy and paste someone's face onto a different body. So get this. They actually trained the model on videos where the photo they uploaded, the reference image, was different from the person in the video itself.
Hold on. They showed the AI a different picture of the person than the one in the video it was learning from. Why would they do that?
Okay, so that's the really ingenious part. By doing that, they basically forced the AI to develop a deeper understanding of what makes that person look like them. The AI had to learn the underlying features, Things like the shape of their face, their hairstyle, their expressions, not just memorize specific pixels from one photo.
Ah, I see. So instead of a simple copy-paste, it learned to capture the essence of the person.
Exactly. And that's what allows MovieGen to create such natural-looking results. It's not just slapping a face on someone else, it's actually creating new visuals based on what it understands about that person's unique looks.
That's seriously cool. It's like teaching AI to paint portraits, but for videos. So we've talked about how MovieGen makes these incredibly realistic videos and even how it can personalize them. But like, how does it actually work on like a deeper level? We've touched on those transformers and the massive data sets, but what's the magic happening behind the scenes?
Yeah, so one of the key things here is something called latent space. Imagine trying to describe a cat to someone who's never seen one before. You wouldn't, like, list out every single detail about it, would you?
You'd probably just say something like, it's furry with whiskers and a tail,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly. So latent space is kind of like that. It's how MovieGen takes all that super complex visual information from those millions of videos and billions of pictures and compresses it. Instead of trying to deal with every single pixel, which would be insanely slow, it turns those visuals into a simpler, more abstract form and stores them in this latent space.
So it's like a shorthand for visual information.
Yeah, exactly. And then when you give it a text prompt or a reference image, it uses all this compressed info to generate new visuals within that latent space. And finally, it decodes those visuals back into actual pixels, and that's what creates the final video.
So it's kind of like translating between languages, except instead of words, it's translating between visual concepts.
That's a great way to put it. And remember those spot artifacts, those glitches we talked about earlier?
Yeah, like the AI's version of a bad internet connection.
Exactly. Well, those were actually happening because of how the AI was trying to store and find information within this latent space. The researchers actually had to get really creative and redesign how the model was compressing and encoding all those visuals to fix those glitches.
Wow, so those glitches were like little hiccups in the AI's visual language.
Exactly. And fixing them meant figuring out how the AI was thinking about and processing the visual world on a much deeper level.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So complex, but so cool. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here, from how MovieGen works its magic to the challenges it had to overcome. But I want to go back to that personalization aspect for a sec, because honestly, it still kind of blows me away. You're telling me I could, like, upload a photo of my grandma and MovieGen can make her the star of a movie?
It's honestly closer than you might think, and it's a total game changer. The fact that MovieGen can learn to put a specific person into a video and do it so well, that's a massive leap forward.
Totally. And you mentioned this earlier, but could you break down the training process a bit more? How does the AI actually learn how to do that?
So it's not just about giving the AI more data, it's about giving it the right kind of data. Remember how we talked about using those videos with the same person in them for training?
Right, so the AI could learn that person's unique features.
Exactly. But they had to go even further than that. They had to make sure the AI wasn't just learning to copy and paste someone's face onto a different body. So get this, they actually trained it on videos where the uploaded photo, the one they call the reference image, was actually different from the person who was in the video.
Wait, so they used a different photo of the person than the one in the video the AI was learning from. Why would they do that?
Okay, so that's the ingenious part. By doing that, they basically forced the AI to learn how to capture someone's likeness, not just memorize pixels.
So it had to figure out the underlying things that make that person look like them, right? Like the shape of their face, their hair, their expressions, all that.
Exactly. It's like teaching the AI to recognize someone not by what they're wearing, but by their actual features. And that's how MovieGen can put someone into a video and make it look so natural. It's not just a copy and paste job. It's actually generating new visuals based on what it understands about that person.
That's mind-blowing. It's like the AI is developing its own understanding of what makes a face look like that specific face, even if the picture it's given is slightly different. What are the implications of that? Where do you see all of this going?
Honestly, the possibilities are kind of endless. Imagine personalized educational videos that adapt to how you learn best. Or picture your kids starring in their favorite storybook with their likeness actually in the animation.
That would be insane. What about in, like, the film industry?
Yeah.
Could MovieGen be used to create new scenes or even whole movies?
Absolutely. Think about historical films or biopics. You could have actors portraying figures from the past in a way we've never seen before. Or imagine being able to create super realistic crowd scenes or action sequences without needing to hire hundreds of extras.
This technology really could change how we make and watch videos forever.
I think so. And as Meta starts releasing parts of this research to the public, it'll be really interesting to see what creative people do with it. We might be on the edge of a whole new era of video creation, all powered by AI and fueled by human imagination.
I'm excited to see what happens. This whole deep dive into movie gen has been eye-opening, to say the least. From typing the sentence to having a personalized video, it's incredible to see how far AI has already come.
It really is amazing. Just a few years ago, the idea of AI creating realistic videos from text prompts would seem like science fiction.
And now it's a reality. But this goes beyond just videos, doesn't it? We're seeing these kinds of breakthroughs in music, art, even writing.
Absolutely. AI is getting better and better at things that we used to think only humans could do.
Which leads to a pretty big question. What does this mean for all of us, like regular people who might not be AI experts, but who are going to be affected by this stuff?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I think the most important thing is to stay informed. The more we understand about AI, what it can do, and also what it can't do, the better prepared we'll be for the future.
Knowledge is power, right? So how do we become more fluent, so to speak, in the world of AI?
It's not just about the technical stuff, although that's important too. It's about approaching these advancements with an open mind and a critical eye, asking questions, being curious, and really thinking about the bigger picture.
So it's not just about how the tech works, it's about what it means for our world.
Precisely. And that's something we all have a role in figuring out.
Yeah, I completely agree. You know, this whole conversation reminds me of something. While this is all super exciting, there's a part of me that's also a little, I don't know, maybe uneasy about all this.
I get it. It's like we're standing at the edge of something totally new. Tons of potential, but also a lot of unknowns.
Yeah, exactly. We've all heard those stories about AI going rogue or being used for bad stuff. Are those just fears from sci-fi movies, or do we have real reasons to be concerned?
I think it's important to acknowledge those concerns and really talk about them. AI is powerful, and like any powerful tool, it can be used in good ways and bad ways.
It's like we've been handed the keys to this incredible, powerful new car. We know it can do amazing things, but we got to figure out how to drive it safely before we hit the gas.
That's a great analogy. It really highlights the importance of being cautiously optimistic about all of this. So much potential for good, but we can't ignore the potential downsides either.
Exactly. So where do we even begin? What are the biggest questions we need to be thinking about as AI keeps getting more and more advanced?
Well, one thing's for sure. We need to get serious about establishing some ethical guidelines for AI development. How do we make sure these tools aren't used to harm people or discriminate or manipulate?
Right, because the tech itself isn't inherently good or bad. It's all about how people choose to use it.
Exactly. And that means we need to address things like bias in AI. How do we make sure these systems are fair and impartial, especially when they're making decisions that can really impact people's lives?
Yeah, it's like making sure an AI is learning from a diverse group of people, not just getting one narrow perspective.
That's a great way to put it. We need diversity in the data used to train these systems, in the teams developing them, and in the voices shaping the rules around how they can be used.
It's almost like we need a global AI ethics committee or something.
Well, there are actually already organizations working on these issues, but it's an ongoing conversation and one that we all need to be a part of.
Absolutely. And, speaking of conversations, I just want to say to the listener who sent in that movie gen paper,
Yeah.
thank you. You really got us thinking today.
Seriously, we started with blue emus swimming in the ocean and ended up discussing the future of AI and its impact on all of us.
Quite the deep dive, to say the least. And to everyone listening, we hope this has given you a better understanding of what movie gen is, what it can do, and what it means for the future of how we create and consume video content.
As always, we encourage you to keep learning, keep asking questions, and keep the conversation going.
Couldn't have said it better myself. The world of AI is always changing, and there's always something new to discover. So stay curious, everyone, and until next time, happy deep diving.